Norspring is Google 5-star rated because your home deserves the best roof on the block.
Local 3 School Patrol covering the classrooms in your community.
As you'll seem to hear as we go through this hour, when you come here to the Norspring and DiStefano Center here downtown, you begin to realize that they take kind of a different approach, a much more purposeful approach than you might found other places. So this is a great example. We're at High Flex Health and Performance. This is Dr. Chelsea Smith. So good to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
Your space is just right next door to where we're going to go next, which is called Hex Performance. But here is where, once again, we've got that customized one-on-one approach to helping people essentially through physical therapy, right?
Mm-hmm. So what we do is we take people either through pain or just any kind of movement restriction. If they feel stiff, they have maybe a little bit of joint restriction, or they have a history of an injury, they're worried about it's going to come back. We take them from start to finish, very relationship-based, very education-based. We do a lot of hands-on therapy, which then transitions to more movement and activity, because we do believe the body is active, it's made to move. It's just also very complex. So we're here to make a very complex thing more understandable so that you kind of get to know what's really going on with your own body. And then a lot of times we segue right into Blake's performance training, and he does all things personal training. People stay with us for performance training as well, but when they're getting into I'm truly trying to get into weight loss and strengthening and hypertrophy and building muscle mass, we just send them over to Blake, and he takes excellent care of them. And then if they have anything flared, they come right back to our side of the wall, and then we just kind of have a whole building relationship, which is awesome.
There are people watching who have never had any kind of an injury or a need, they think, for physical therapy.
Right.
But it's not always because you've gotten injured, right? I mean, as we get older, our bodies age.
Absolutely.
So everything here is preventive when possible.
Absolutely. In a perfect scenario, I would have everybody be buddies with a physical therapist, because even it's things like, I want to be able to bend down and pick up my grandkid and feel more comfortable doing it, not feeling like I might lose my balance. I want to, walk down the stairs and hold something with one arm, be multitasking and feel confident in that. So we do a lot of full body assessment to kind of let you know, not that you have something wrong with you, but just kind of point out where you can improve to prevent stuff. And then we have a lot of people that come to see us that, they're not hurting, they just want to feel better. And so we're here to make you feel the best you can and live the healthiest life that you can.
So from a monetary conversation, we'll talk about this just very quickly. Most people come to you and they kind of pay as they go. You will take insurance, but you're considered out of network, so it's not always beneficial to people.
Right. And it's kind of a scary term for people with out of network, but really some have really great benefits. So I was just letting her know a couple examples, like Volkswagen has great out of network benefits. So if it's where your deductible is within a reasonable amount that we might hit, we file directly to the insurance company. You don't have to submit your own super bills. That can be intimidating to people. And then once deductible is met, then usually about 60% is covered by their out-of-network plan. But being out-of-network, it kind of takes the handcuffs off. We're not limited to one body part at a time. We treat the whole system, and we don't have, visit limits the same way. Right. So a lot of our people, they come in realizing they're going to pay out of pocket on the front end, but then they're surprised that we actually can build to their out-of-network benefits, just depending on if it's advantageous or not.
What happens so often when you go to a physical therapist, both of my daughters have had physical therapy before, and you're sent home with kind of this rubric and these diagrams of what exercises to do.
Yeah.
And then you get home and you don't know how to do it necessarily. You spend so much time with people here that you find that their frequency of coming to you really is reduced because they do so well at home.
That's exactly right. So since we're typically an hour to an hour and 15 minutes or so on most follow-ups, we are doing the exercises with you. We're making sure you have an understanding. And if it's more of a hands-on emphasis that day, we're still going to make sure you know what you're doing at home. And it comes over, we have an app that we use, and so everything is video. It has all of your reps and sets, and then you can communicate with us. Is really the biggest thing. Is relationship. And we've got patients, they'll text us like, hey, I was doing this kind of felt weird. What do you think? And we'll either jump on a call, or we'll FaceTime them, or we'll text them back and forth. And you just don't get that at a busy clinic. You can't have direct access to your therapist as often as you can here. But really, we make sure that you understand why you're doing it and make sure that it actually helps you. And that way there's a lot more buy-in. But we were chatting too that a lot of times it's length of time that we need to see just on a typical science basis for healing to actually happen. So if we have people come in here and we recommend, maybe 12 visits, we can stretch that out and see you twice a week on the front end, and then kind of drop it down to once, and then really get that good 12-week duration of time so we can see true tissue healing and see strength gains But our biggest focus is, yes, not to get you in here 2 to 3 times a week, take all of your time and just send you home with a checklist. So we're very holding your hand through it. And if you need anything, we modify along the way.
I think that hopefully as a society, we're trying more and more to be healthy. We're trying to eat healthier and exercise and that kind of thing. But if you don't have that observation happening, you could be doing it the wrong way and hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe you're exercising and you're running or whatever, but your body takes some wear and tear.
Yeah.
Your phrasing here is aging without limits. This idea that, well, I'm just going to have aches and pains as I get older, not true.
It doesn't have to be. It's incredibly common, but it's not normal. So I was just chatting with someone the other day, and they're in their 40s, and like, well, I just have back pain. I'm 40, and I'm like, you don't need to have back pain at 40. I mean, it's common, but it's not normal. You shouldn't have to deal with something like that. So we try to make people understand their true potential, and that if you hit things ahead of time, you don't have to wait to have pain to come and see us. You can just come in, just something I feel like I could feel better. We have a couple different things that I also do personally. Is immunoneurofrequency is a type of therapy that hits at a neural oscillation level. So it's little wearable discs, and it hits inflammation differently. So we try to come at it from every angle possible to get some inflammation down.
So does that mean that if you're having like nerve pain in your neck or something, that's something you would target using that?
I could, yep. So the assessment I do with that is I'm looking at inflammation around the nervous system. And then another evaluation that I personally do, and Dr. Sarah Peterson also does, is assessing your central and your peripheral nervous system. And then that's this kind of style of dry needle therapy we do addresses that. And then full musculoskeletal, neuromuscular. So if you've got anything like nerve pain coming from your neck, nerve pain in the back, if you've got weird sensations, even just like I noticed my grip is a little bit less on one side. If it seems abnormal, we treat it.
Do you love educating people?
Oh, so much. Yeah. So I have an anatomy app that I will pull up, and I'll go over exactly what's going on with people if they want to know. Some people are like, don't explain it, just get me feeling better. But I love to educate. So, because I find that if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you just see this list of things that you should be doing. It goes in a drawer, you never do it, and then you feel the same, a few months later. So if you truly get a grasp on why you're doing it and have an understanding of how your body works, it becomes just something that's part of your life. You floss your teeth, you brush your teeth. We take care of our body. We want to move better and feel better. You don't have to age painfully.
You feel so relaxed actually when you're here because you're in expert hands. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So here's how you can get in touch. Dr. Chelsea Smith. It's called High Flex Health and Fitness.
Health and performance.
Health and performance. I'm never
You're
going to
good.
get that right. Just remember High Flex.
High Flex.
Chelsea Smith. And now when we come back, we're going to go next door and talk with Blake Woodruff.
You got it.
He has got Hex Performance.
You got it.
We'll explain how they're working in tandem when we come back.
Yes. Thank you.
Count on Local 3 News for Eye on Health reports. Latrice Curry brings you the latest information from local experts to help you protect your family and make health